Hi everyone, I'm Dave from Polypad, and in this Polypad pointer video, I'm going to show you how to use the tools on Polypad to create a question like this that has two number lines, and a movable fraction bar, and an input box for students to submit their answer. So I built this on my teacher account. You can see that if I go click on my picture in the upper right, I'm in a teacher account because I have a teacher dashboard. In order to use the question builder tile like I've used here, you need to have a teacher account. You can go to account settings and you can change that from a student to a teacher account. Before I show you how to make this on Polypad, I want to show you what it looks like from the student side of things. So I added this tile and I entered the answer of 140. I'll show you how to do that in a minute, but I'm going to swipe over to another browser where I'm not logged in, and you can see now instead of the answer there's a question mark here. So if I'm not logged in, or if I'm logged in as a student, really any account except the one that made this Polypad, there is a question mark here. So if I'm engaging with this Polypad, maybe I could make a first guess and say 125 is what 40% would be here. If 350 is 100%, that's not correct. So maybe I'll use some of the visuals to help me. I know that 10% of 350 is 35. So I'm just going to add a 35 card here to label that. And so that would mean it's 4 of the 35s. I copied that. I'll copy one more. So 20% is 70. And if I double that, I'm just going to put the cards on top of each other to find the sum of 140. And now when I enter in 140, I get that check mark and the confetti comes down the screen, which is super fun to see. So that's how it works with the question builder tile. I'm going to go back to my teacher account to show you how to make this. That's the point of this Polypad pointer video. So first I want to get two number lines on the canvas. So here are my two number lines. And on the top number line, I want the labels to be at the top. So you can see I have this action bar pinned at the bottom of the canvas. I could unpin it so it just is attached to the number line, but in this video I'm going to keep it pinned. And on this number line, I want to change the labels. So I want the labels to be above the number line. So now they're above it. And I want it to start at 0 and go up by 10%. So under step, I'm going to enter 10%. So there I have my 0 to 100%. And on this one on the bottom, I turned off the labels, and this 0 and 350 I just added as a text box. So I've selected the bottom number line. Under labels here, I want none. There we go. And now I'm going to add in a fraction bar before I add a text box under this number. So I'm going to go to fractions and fraction bars, and this is with the tenths. So you can see when I drop it in, it kind of snaps in place really nicely. And I can put this number line so it snaps in place. I'm going to select all of these just to move them down a little bit. But you can see in my example, I have the labels off on the fraction bar. So again, I've clicked on the fraction bar. I'm going to go to the 3 dots and click labels, none. There we go. That looks pretty good. Here's this this black triangle where I can move this anywhere I want. So maybe I'll make this one at 30%. And now I want to add my 0 and 350. So I'll go to a text box, type in 0, kind of put that in place where I want. Maybe copy it with the C button on my keyboard and drag it over here and enter in 350. There we go. So that looks great. And my final piece is to add a question builder tile. So that's all the way down under games and applications. And the last one is the question builder tile. Once again, this only appears if you have a teacher account. So if you are not signed into a teacher account, this whole category does not appear. I will make it a little bit smaller here with this black circle. Well, first I'll put in the numbers. So what is it? 105, is that right? 70 and 35 is 105. Oh, I need a question mark. 105, there we go. So now I can drag this into place, make it a little bit smaller, and there is 105. Great. I'm going to save this now. I'm going to go up to the file and click save. And you can see when this saves, I can click on this on the URL under sharing, and it's copied to the clipboard. I'm going to swipe over to incognito mode again and just do Command R on my keyboard to give it a reload. And you can see now here that both of those ones that I built are there on Canvas. A few things to point out though here. If I'm a student, on this one on the top, I'm trying to click and drag the fraction bar and I can't. I'm trying to click on the text boxes or the number lines, I can't do it. On the bottom one, you can see I can move the number line, I can move the text box, I can delete the fraction bar. So on this first one that I made, I locked a number of the tiles. I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So I'm going to go back to my teacher account. I don't want students to move the number line by accident. So I'm going to click on this number line and go to the three dots. And under interactivity, I'm going to choose locked. When something is locked, you can't move it, you can't change it, you can't delete it. It's fully locked to the canvas. So that one's locked. I'm going to lock the bottom number line. These text boxes, I'm holding down the Shift key to select them both. I'm going to lock those. Now on the fraction bar, I like students to have the ability to change what is shaded in on the fraction bar if that helps them think about what's happening with this question. But I don't want them to move or delete the fraction. So one option under the three dots is this bottom one, cannot move or delete. I just said I don't want them to move or delete it, and there's that option, cannot move or delete. So there we go. I'm going to save it again. I could also just do Command S on my keyboard. I'm going to go back to the student one, Command R to give it a reload. And here you can see I can't move the fraction bar. I can't click on the number line. And I think I'm good to go. I really like how this looks. The final thing to show, as a student here, I can play the fraction bar. I could split this up into pieces. I could rename the fraction bar, which is sort of distracting potentially from the goal of this question. So the last thing I want to show is how you can control, as a teacher, what options appear in the action bar. So I'm going to go back to my teacher account, and I need to enter the tile customization mode. So I'm going to go to Feature, I'm going to go to Custom. There are all these toggles that I'm not going to talk about in this video. You can go to mathagon.org/learn and watch a video on how to fully customize a Polypad. But I just want to show you how I can select the tiles and tools available on the fraction bar. So I'm going to click on this bottom one here, or at the bottom, the button that says Select Tiles and Tools. I click on that, you can see I'm now in this tile selection mode. I'm going to click on the fraction bar, and under the tools here, it's going to allow me to choose what options I want available for any fraction bar on the canvas. So I don't want my students to really change a lot of things with the fraction bars. I guess it's fine if they make a copy of them. I don't want to change the interactivity or the labels or the layering. I don't want them to play the music. I don't want them to change the size of the pieces of the fraction bars. I don't want them to turn off the handles or change the sound or split it or deal with any of the musical things. So I'm going to turn all of those options off except just the ability to copy the fraction bar. Maybe making copies would be helpful. So I've turned all those off. I'm going to exit this mode now. Save it. Right back here, save it. Go back to my student mode, give it a reload, and now you can see in the action bar, I'm going to unpin it. All I have available on this fraction bar is copy. So I've turned off all those other actions that might be distracting to students as they engage in these questions. So that's super helpful. I'm going to go back to my teacher mode now. Maybe I would add a question at the bottom like create your own picture. I'm doing an equation editor, so PI automatically changed to pi. That's cool, but I want a text box. Create your own visual of 70% of 400 or something, right? So what I like about these questions on Polypad, I can start with a visual that I want students to engage with and then have them use the tools to make their own visual. Really, really nice. Two last things to show. One, I can extend these number lines. So I have locked these now, but if I wanted to maybe go above 100% and add another question to the tool, I can go, I'm still under the File menu. I'm going to edit these locked tiles. Remember I locked these number lines? So I'm going to edit these locked tiles, and I'm going to click on the number line and just extend it a little bit, maybe all the way up to 150. All right, there we go. And I'll extend the bottom one. Remember, I don't have any labels on the bottom one. I can extend the fraction bar as well. And that looks pretty good. So I'm going to edit hidden and locked tiles mode and maybe add another question builder tile for 140%. So what would that be? 350 plus 140, is that 490? Check my arithmetic, but I think that looks good. I'll make this a little bit smaller here. So 490, there we go. All right, and then I will save that one. And we could give it a reload as well. Again, I can click on this, on the URL. It's now copied to the clipboard. I could share it with students in an LMS. You can create classes in Mathagon and share them with your Mathagon classes. Head to mathagon.org/learn, or click on this question mark here to learn how to make classes in Mathagon and add students to those classes. And finally, I can also take this Polypad and embed it into a Desmos Classroom Activity Builder and then share that activity with students. So let me just show you that real quick at the end of this video. I'm going to swipe over to my Desmos Classroom account, and I'm going to make a new custom activity. So I'll click on Custom Activities, create a new one. I'll just call this %number_line, create new activity. Here I am in the first screen of this Desmos Classroom activity. I'm going to scroll down a little bit and click on Polypad. You can see it now gives me a blank Polypad canvas. I copied that URL to the one that I built. So now I'm going to click here just to activate the Polypad, do Command V on my keyboard, and there it is. That Polypad just gets imported right there. So I could head to preview mode, and students then could engage with this in Desmos Classroom. How exciting is that? So all sorts of ways to build engaging questions using number lines and fraction bars and the question builder tile. You can share them with students right in Mathagon, or even embed them into a Desmos Classroom activity. Thanks for watching this Polypad pointer video. I hope you found it helpful.